Track 5, Finding Your Tribe. Through my research and interactions with teen unschoolers, the main challenges they expressed were social. They didn't lack in social skills. They could carry on a conversation better than most of their peers. The main issue was that they wanted to find more opportunities to connect with other young people. Since so many teens are in school all day, it creates a natural challenge. The teen unschoolers I spoke to also confessed to feeling hurt by how people perceived them upon hearing they were unschoolers. A specific story comes to mind that an unschooling teen named Amy shared with me. Amy told me that when her friend who attended school was introducing her to her group of friends, she introduced her by saying, "This is my friend Amy. She's homeschooled." It really bothered Amy that she felt that her first introduction to a new group of people came with this unexpected asterisk next to her name. The stigma associated with homeschooling and unschooling generally stems from it being misunderstood. The unschooling philosophy is quite radical in comparison to the mainstream approach to raising children, and people are not always open to new ideas, especially when they challenge their own. After all, to accept unschooling for what it is, an empowering and liberating method of learning that has proven to work for some people, would require one to accept that their own methods of learning may be substandard. I admit, before taking the time to learn about the world of unschooling and homeschooling, I thought it was weird as well. Even when I was actively working to find ways to help young people learn without needing school, I still associated negative baggage with the words homeschooling and unschooling. I also surveyed teens who attend school, asking them how they felt about attending school. Interestingly, most teens replied by telling me how they felt about the environment socially, most not even mentioning the learning aspect of school at all. With regard to the social environment, teens tended to express being in one of two extremes, sharing statements that ranged from, "The one thing I like about school is that all my friends are there," to, "I hate going to school because I get bullied, don't have any friends, and have developed severe anxiety and depression." School clearly has a monopoly on finding teenagers, since the law essentially requires them all to show up. They even send buses to everyone's neighborhood to pick kids up and bring them to school. Many young people's lives outside of school are also occupied either by after-school activities, homework, or an endless combination of both. Despite so many teens attending school, for many of them, the school setting doesn't seem to be conducive to building meaningful friendships. The social dynamics that take place inside a school are really unusual, though we seem to accept how unusual the environment is because of the fact that schooling is so widespread and common. For example, starting in kindergarten, students are separated throughout the day by age. By the time they are teens, the school system also starts separating them out by academic achievements. Rarely are students encouraged to talk with one another inside of a school, aside from a short lunch break and even shorter transition time between classes. Teachers frequently even control where students can sit in class, prohibiting conversation and meaningful connection. Plus, schools often adopt dress codes and prohibit certain kinds of language, further preventing young people from expressing themselves in ways they feel are genuine to them. In addition, students are constantly pitted against one another in the form of competition for praise, attention, and grades from teachers. All of these factors combine to create an unusual way to make social connections and friends. Yet the school continues to be the only game in town if you are looking to meet other teens. I wondered if there were places where unschoolers come together and make friends and create community. The unschooling conferences and camps I visited were a perfect environment for teen unschoolers to connect intensely for a week, but they were annual events, which limited the potential for long-term connections and friendships. I also found the local unschooling groups were often focused more on supporting younger unschoolers, but seemed less inviting to teenagers. There seemed to be a need for spaces that allowed self-directed teens to come together on a regular basis. That's not to say that everyone wishes to travel each day to a building and be surrounded by people 5 days a week. I imagined a place where individuals could choose whether or not they wanted to attend each day, but if they chose to show up, There would be a building filled with kids who shared a desire to simply learn. Maybe something like an unschooling school, if that was such a thing. In my travels and research, I discovered there were many such places around the United States and around the world. You may wonder how it is you've never heard of them. The truth is that when compared to how many schools there are, the numbers are pretty small. The best estimates for the United States report that there are around 50,000 teen unschoolers, reference 126 and 127, 15 million teens in high school, reference 128, and only a few thousand attending these mysterious self-directed learning centers. It turns out there's not just one model for a self-directed learning center, which can be thought of as an unschooling school. I'd like to share with you some information about the variety of options that are out there so you can get a feel for yourself about what these places have in common and what makes them distinct. The three models I'd like to discuss are democratic free schools, agile learning centers, and liberated learner centers.